Alright, Diablo players, let's get into it. This is the brand new Firebolt Evade Burn Sorc build. You can see that's the brand new Super Mega Ultimate Belial, and well, he gets deleted quite fast with this build. Keep in mind, everything is subject to change, but this was one of the top tier builds, and I've actually made it a little bit better, so I want to give you guys an update to it. If things change, I will be also updating the planner. So, going into the build, let's go ahead and go over the skills and kind of how it plays. So, for starters, our main source of damage actually is with the boss powers. The boss powers give us all of our damage. We are using evade and teleport essentially, because our evade becomes teleport, to get big damage, because once we activate our evade, we get big damage. The Firebolt also acts as a vessel to restore our resources, as most of the basic skills in this game have very high lucky hit chance, and since it's very fast, what we use it for also is we activate a bonus that's on an implicit on boots. This is actually something key here. So for your gear on the boots, you need the boots to actually roll on the implicit. Attacks reduce evade's cooldown. You want your evade, or essentially teleport, you want that cooldown to be specifically, okay, it's specifically 3 seconds. That means when you attack with your evade, it does the damage, but then also when you attack with Firebolt, it's 2 attacks will basically put it off of cooldown so you can reactivate it. You can hold down Firebolt and just spam teleport and evade the whole time, and it will not count your character as moving. So you can run things like intercom or anything that would make your character hold still to get a bonus, and it will still register. You don't even have to move, which makes this build really cool. But again, Firebolt will give us another multiplier here, and it'll technically like pierce other targets, but for the most part, it's kind of our source of another multiplier. Ice Armor will give us 100% unstoppable. Just activate it whenever you have it up, and it's really easy to keep it up the whole time. Unstable Currents gives us extra attack speed. It activates all these other lightning things, and because we're spamming teleport, we can get these extra bonuses for some other sources of damage. And then we have Flame Shield, just like a lot of other Sorc builds, because it's one of the best defensive things in the game to just be immune, especially when the newer bosses are going to be a lot more challenging. Obviously, we don't have problems right now as far as the bosses go. We can still one-tap them, but the Flame Shield will make it so we don't get one-shotted. It's very hard, honestly, for a lot of the brand new bosses in Season 8. It doesn't matter how tanky your build is, they will absolutely one-shot you if you don't dodge some of the mechanics. That's at least in the current state of the game. Flame Shield allows you to be like, well, we're both one-shotting each other, but I'm immune. So it's going to be really good to play Sorc in Season 8. Probably one of my highest recommendations if someone wants to feel powerful and you don't like getting one-shot. Well, your answer is really only Sorc. There's not any other class other than Necromancer that can go into this mist form, but during that, you can't really do too much. But nonetheless, this is excellent. Anyways, we've updated the build a little bit more to get some extra damage. Firewall is one of those newer updates that I wanted to bring to you guys. It just gives you another multiplier. We'll get into that. You only really need this for pit pushing. I've already shown you guys that this build can do a pit 100, and it's going to be even stronger now with some of these newer adjustments. Firewall is excellent. It's just another multiplier. Then teleport is our source of damage. Depending on how many points you may want to invest in this depends on your roles of things. Like for the PTR, I had a GA Harlequin, which I'll be honest, it might not be super easy to get. So you will need to put more points into teleport to get that cooldown reduction to come down, which is totally fine. And then for the enchantments, we are playing Incinerate, and we are also playing Teleport. So this activates as another source of a damage multiplier. We don't need to play Incinerate at all. It's not on the bar. It just automatically gives us another multiplier with an aspect. And then Teleport makes our evade actually deal our damage. Now, this is kind of tying into the skill bar, so I want to go over these are the boss powers for specifically Season 8. And the boss powers as our main boss power are going to be Cinerate's Flame. So when we use a mobility skill, which is Teleport and Evade, it's going to burn enemies for crazy amounts of damage. Then for our sub powers, we play the Karuma's Spark, so our evade cooldown gets reduced by 5%, and it goes down to up to 30% evade cooldown reduction, which is great. So this is how we're spamming our teleport infinitely. Then we have Andario's Flaming Skull, which gives us burning enemies take more damage, and then it's going to burn them again. And then Avarice's Explosive Ore. So we've updated the build to get even more damage because we get this way more often. You'll see that mana goes absolutely empty and it goes right back up, and it's going to go, it's going to be like a ping pong ball. It's going to go crazy fast. And the reason why is when we activate our main boss power, which is every single time we evade, it's going to spend all of our resource. And this build, I really like this one over the Ball Lightning. There's actually 2 variants, and I will also link that one for you guys, or just look it up. It's the Burning Ball Lightning build, and they're very, very similar in the playstyle, because it's pretty much copy and paste the build, but you play Ball Lightning and you do a couple different tweaks here and there, but for the most part, the identity is the same. But the problem with the Ball Lightning one is if you don't hit targets, you're out of mana and the build feels bad. This one is way more beginner friendly because you can literally hold down the button and you don't have to worry about even looking at your screen, which is great. If you like that lazy playstyle of kind of play Diablo and do something else at the same time, right? Anyways, as far as other things, you can do a couple different things, like one board can be Tactician or Unleash. It's kind of up to you. There's a couple different things that I mentioned, and I'll mention it in the build over here. So Air Perdition technically is something you could consider, but for the most part, it would require you to throw in this other thing to reduce Teleport's cooldown, which makes you lose another aspect, but it is possible. So you can run Harlequin or Air of Perdition. You just need everything to be absolutely perfect, and you have to play a one-hander, and then you need to roll cooldown reduction there. But Air of Perdition or Harlequin is pretty much best in slot. You can run Shroud of False Death, or if you really want to try to go for pushing, you could also run the variant where you play Riment of the Infinite, which is the thing that kind of vacuums everything up, but remember, it does make cooldown a little bit more of a pain, so it's not as beginner friendly. And then we're going to be running the Aspect of Engulfing Flames. Anywhere that we can get attack speed, damage over time, int, max life, these are all great stats. And on the utility, what you want to go ahead and put on is bonus to convulsions everywhere. Going on from Season 8 forward, this is going to be like the new utility that you throw on every single Sorc build because it just gives you a good multiplier. But this just makes you do more damage when the enemy is burning, and they're going to take more damage. Snow Veiled. Infinite Unstoppable. Love it. It's the greatest thing ever. So you will never be frozen, stunned, knocked down, feared, slowed. You're immune to everything. It's great. And the build pretty much has immortality, again, with the exception of the boss one-shot mechanics. And then we run the Aspect of Orange Hail to help out with our ultimate. And this is, again, very key. Attacks reduce evades cooldown. Most important thing. Now, as far as masterworking, you want to go to convulsions at all times. But does it really matter that much? No. In fact, in the other slot, you want mobility for like the movement speed also. Over there, I'll update the planner for that. And then also over here on configuration, you can run a two-hander here, or you can run a one-handed. The one-handed will give you extra lucky hit you can get to restore a primary resource. The reason why that's great is because you want to activate your Cax rune as much as possible before Blizzard nerfs it, maybe in Season 9. But yeah, that rune is in like literally 99% of builds, and this build actually has such high lucky hit chance that you just go again, you go down, down, and you go right back up sometimes. It feels really good. But you can run also Conceited. If you want to play a one-handed, you can also get cooldown reduction. It's up to you on your rolls of stuff. And then Aspect of Creeping Death is what you want to try to get. We can run Permafrost over here. It's a really easy thing to get a good multiplier because all you need is one frost skill. Then Inner Calm. This is an excellent thing because, well, it's going to be good to go. And then you also want to try to get Lucky Hit Chance to make enemies vulnerable on something because you need to apply vulnerability. And then we run Tal Rasha's Iridescent Loop. This gives us a massive amount of extra cooldown reduction because we need it for our build. And then for the runes, I'm running Seer Ohm. And then we run Igni Cax. So Cax is in every single build, and yeah, we want to activate this as often as possible. And then for our skill tree, the first few points here, we're going to max out Firebolt. This gives us another multiplier. We want resources because that's actual damage. These are okay to grab if you want to get like some sort of survivability. You may want to put 5 points into Teleport. It can be key. And then we want this thing to form Crackling Energy because it's going to give us even more resource. We want the Ice Armor. We want the one where we spend mana, and it's going to basically give it infinite cooldown. And then we can keep it up the whole time, getting extra lucky hit chance. And then we also get this when we use a cooldown. We get max life as barrier, and that's kind of OP because, well, we basically get that 24/7, so it's really good because we're constantly using evade and teleport. That's our source of damage. Then just getting extra damage reduction, and then this is one of the newer additions. We get another 25x multiplier here, and then if you want to play the Ball Lightning version, you would change it up a bit. Again, I will link that one also. But you have to put a point into Ball Lightning or this to get this. So absorbing Crackling Energy gives us mana. And so how we activate that, as far as Crackling Energy goes, when we teleport, well, we just gain the Crackling Energy over there, which is great. And then also we have, because remember, we're going to be constantly evading, so that's how we get a lot of resources. And then we just get vulnerable damage. There's also this while we have a frost skill on our action bar, which one's just our ice armor. Then we get all these damage multipliers here, and then unstable currents. And then there's also this one over here. This is now changed. This no longer requires only pyromancy skills. This is update in Season 8. And then we also, of course, get combustion. This is how we get a lot of our damage to burning, which is all on the Paragon board. Unfortunately, it's not something that we can roll like on the Rogue. So for the Paragon board, we're going to be starting off with Starter Board and Tactician. This is going to give us extra damage. And then we go into Frigid Fate with Pyromaniac over here, giving us extra every pyromancy skill that you cast, or if you use Incinerate, which we don't use, but we're just getting another multiplier over there. And then we go into Fundamental Release with Torch over here, and then we're going to constantly be burning enemies, and then Torch over here, again, damage to burning, and we get increased damage with Burn. And then we get the Burning Instinct and Elementalist over here, so our burning damage gets increased, and we're going to max that out. And then we're going to go into Ceaseless Conduit over here, and as long as we have Crackling Energy, which again, every single time that you teleport, as long as we teleport, we will get that Crackling Energy, and then you can see it's just going to go, it's basically above our XP bar. That pretty much, as long as you're teleporting, it's not a thing that you have to worry about. Even though we don't deal damage with Crackling Energy, we get the X increase up to X60. It's just one of the highest multipliers, and that's why pretty much every Sorc build plays this. It's just that it's too hard to really compete with a 60x multiplier, and it's just scaling off of int, which is very, very easy. But anyways, that is going to be the updated build for the Burning Teleport. This is the Firebolt variant. There is also, again, a Ball Lightning version, which recommend you guys to try out. You can try both of them out. I recommend this one as a beginner. The other one, like I said, it does a little bit more damage, but you can check the pit gameplay of this and the other one if you want to. As far as it goes, I'd say as long as a build can do pit 100, it doesn't really matter that there's a couple more. If you want to, you can try the Ball Lightning one. There's actually an Andario's like Flaming Spin one. Honestly, that one's really hard to play. In fact, most people probably won't want to play that one. But the Ball Lightning isn't so hard that it's like, impossible for your average, Joe to play. But it's just something to take a note of, as I like to make my builds as lazy as possible, as in like, you don't have to do step A, B, C, D. This is just basically spam fire. You can spam your skills whenever you want, really. But basically, you can hold down Firebolt and just teleport across the screen. And that's kind of what I think most people want, as far as like a smooth, easy playstyle. Then again, this is the brand new like Belial, and you can absolutely just slap them once. Now, will this get nerfed? If they nerf it, I'll be pretty disappointed, because this is one of the most fun builds in the game. You can see that it just takes a while for like all the multipliers, because you throw the Firewall and then the Firebolt, get those double 25x multipliers, and then you hit him up with the evade, and he melts pretty fast. Anyways, that's gonna wrap things up, and if anything does change from the PTR, I will update you guys just like in this video. But thanks for tuning in, guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it, subscribe if you're new, and check out the other builds. I'll have pretty much majority of the builds ready to go by the time Season 8 comes out. But take care, I'll see you in the next video. And the build will also be in the planner, in the pin, and the link in the bio if you're watching this on TikTok. Peace out.